Is it working? That's what we're trying to figure out here. Yeah, I think so. I think we are live. That stream link might be wrong potentially. Yep. Well, I am a bit tired. So, but we're still gonna get through this. We're gonna make this happen. Hopefully that link works. I'm just checking this link that was shared. I wonder where that goes. If that's gonna. Oh, it works. It works. It actually works. I can see myself. Nice. Looks like there's like a couple second delay. All right, we are gonna get started here. Alrighty. Well, thanks for stopping by, joining in. So if you weren't here at the last live stream, maybe I'll just give like a quick kind of rundown of what we're working on here. Just started a new project, a game called Stoke Fire. And it's an on-chain game built on base, and we're trying to do something new, try to do something exciting, kind of experiment a little bit with doing some cool stuff. It's gonna be a fun project, and I'm trying to like build a lot of it publicly, kind of share in public, and that kind of thing. And so far it's gone well. It's been fun to build, and I've already gotten a good start on the project. Like I've been writing a lot of code and stuff. And so today we need to do some code organization because it's kind of a mess. Like there's basically I have 4 different projects. So 4 different repositories right now. We've got the smart contracts. We've got the front end like code for the app. It's an Expo app. So it's written in JavaScript and TypeScript, but it's it compiles down to iOS and Android, and that's a whole its own repo. So we got 2 there. Then we have an indexer, and this code basically indexes the events that are happening on the smart contracts. That's a 3rd project. And then the 4th project, it's the website. Like the website for it will be the website. Right now I'm also kind of using it as like the API for handling some backend stuff. So that's in next.js. So have that as well. If you have any questions as we go through this and you're in the live stream, just type it in the chat and I'll see that and I'll try to answer any questions that we have. So yeah, so kind of what I need to do is I'm going to keep the smart contracts separate. It's going to be its own repository. But the other 3 projects right now, they're separate, and I want to combine them into one monorepo so that it's just easier to work with. Don't have like tons of different workspaces opened up. And I've actually, over the last couple of days, it's been a little bit of a struggle because I've been trying to use Turbo repo. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like something owned by Vercel. And it's supposed to basically be a monorepo, but it handles all the builds all at the same time for you. And it's supposed to be like slick and fast and all that stuff. And so I've been trying to use that and I got it kind of working. And then like things kept breaking and the builds kept breaking. And it was like super annoying. And eventually I was like, okay, I don't think this is worth it. Like it's just taking me too much time to build to get this thing working, and I don't have enough experience. I haven't used it before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. It's like, what, this is taking too much time. I need to just skip this and not do this. And so basically what I'm doing today, well, starting out, hopefully it doesn't take too long, but what I'm starting out doing today is making a new repo that's a monorepo and putting 3 of those projects, just basically copying and pasting them in there and just like getting everything working again and just putting it in there. So that is kind of the plan. So I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's not the most exciting stuff to work on. But it's like you got to get through some of these like configuration kind of stuff to get going to where you can actually like build quickly. All right, we'll call it Stoke Fire Mono. It's gonna be public. Yes, we'll create a README. Create a repository. Boom. That wasn't too hard. The only thing is I kind of want it to be private actually for now. Probably forever actually. So am I able to change that? Where do I change that? Change repository visibility. Change to private. Yes. I've not read, but I do understand. We cannot go back on this. Oh, they're going to make me authenticate as well. Use my authenticator app. You know, this is, you get to see the, this is just, life is just doing this kind of stuff. Here, I'm going to not show that because who knows if that's, I don't think it's a bad idea, but just to be safe. All right, now we've got our repo. Looks like it's good to go. And we can do that. Sweet. Okay, so let's go ahead. Where are we at here? Got some different projects. Let's click on that. Okay, perfect. We will then open this up in Visual Studio Code. And we don't have much there. Perfect. So, you know, this is just the life of a programmer right here. You're seeing it in real action. It's just doing little tedious things. Okay, I will show you before we get going here. If you want to see a quick, you know, since you're here, if you want to see kind of what the mobile app is looking like, boom, there it is. So this is Stoke Fire. This is the mobile app. And it's pretty simple. Oops, I messed up something. Minimize that. Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to show you now because it's not even running right now. All right, well, I guess I can't leave you hanging like that. Let's see if I can get this running again. Because the app's not running. Here we go. This should work. Okay, so this is like the UI for Stoke Fire right now. So it's pretty simple. We've got our fire, and we've got a couple of actions that I was showing yesterday. If you're looking, if you were watching the stream yesterday, of these smart contract actions that are on the blockchain. So we can stoke our fire, we can chop wood to get wood, we can gather food, and then we just have kind of our score and stuff. So pretty simple. It's kind of like some pixel art is kind of the idea. So yeah, we'll definitely have to tend to that and make it look better and add more things, and that will be fun. But right now, we got to get back to basically we just have to do some stuff here, some organization. All right, so first project, let's get. See, I'll do a new window. I'm just gonna like move some stuff over. So it should be this one. And I kind of want everything except the .get. So this was the project we were just looking at. I guess maybe what we'll do is do like apps, and then we'll call this one, let's call this one, this is like the main app. So maybe we'll just call it Stoke Fire and then copy that in. All right, so do that. And then I didn't do the .get, as you can see. We will copy in these other things. I just don't want the .get because that's, the configuration for that project, the old repo. All right, so we do that. Let's do our next one is going to be our indexer. So where did I have this? This, I think, is under here. Yes, indexer. Basically, the trick is we got to just make sure we do this right, pull everything over, and hope that our build works, and then make sure that the build works, and just like finish doing the build. Stuff like that. Okay, so that should be good for indexer. Next one, we've got our website. So let's just do website. And actually, I think that will be it, because we will keep the contracts in their own repo so that I can easily make those public. And so we'll just have these 3 projects in here. And this will just be, basically for reasons of having one workspace, having one repository on Git to push everything to. And I would like, once I get Turbo Repo like actually figured out, like I would like to use Turbo Repo. And so then maybe we could kind of refactor this into using Turbo Repo. That would be ideal, at least. So web projects, see all my different projects here. Stoke Fire website. Here we go. Okay, copy that over. Okay, so we should be good. This is everything here. And it even should build correctly because I pulled over everything. So I shouldn't even have to install stuff, I don't think. The only other thing is I think I have a couple things to update that I had done in another project. So we'll have to do that. So let's just see if some of this stuff works. So Stoke Fire. On start. That's already being used. So it's in this. Sweet. Looks like that one's working. Let's check out our indexer. I think this one is run start as well, maybe. Okay. So these are some issues because I did some path stuff. And I think I fixed that somewhere else. So we'll have to check that out. So if I go here, this is the turbo stuff that I attempted. And, at some point we'll maybe actually like walk through some of this stuff, how this works. Using Ponder for the indexer, really like Ponder. Have enjoyed the experience with it. It's an indexer that indexes blockchain events. But what I need to change here is we should have this config file, and it's pulling these constants. And we kind of need to update where these constants are getting pulled from so that we can actually use them. So what I have going on is a script. I guess it's not in here. Where did that script go? Oh, right here. This script, let's make this bigger. This script, what it's doing is it's like going to these smart contracts when they're deployed on like a test net, or not a test net, but like locally. The contracts are deployed locally. And then it's like creating a JSON file that writes what the address is that was used. And so we kind of need to move this to be somewhere where we can like run this script to just kind of pull the addresses, any data that we need from that, and then just it creates a JSON file, puts it in the different projects. There's definitely like better ways to kind of like set this up. But this is kind of like my quickly created way of doing this. So I think what we could do, I'm trying to think where the best place to have this is. Probably is in our indexer. And so we'll just have to change some paths and stuff. Okay, so in our indexer, because this, we could have like a script in here that handles it. Or, yeah, because I'm trying to think where I'll run these things when I'll do like an npm run. Okay, so we just added it here. It will have some default values, and then this needs to go find where. So this is like a very breakable thing. Like this isn't something like if someone tried to install or download this package, it wouldn't work very well for them or this project because they'd have to make sure that they have the smart contracts in a similar place. Let's see. So if we go up one level, up a second level, up a third level, we're then out of the project. So I think we can get, here, let's look at this. So up one, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then you're here and you can get into this. So I can remove that. That's how we then pull this data. And then dev constants.json. So this will create a JSON file right here that can be used. And then we want to write a file up 1, up 2, get rid of web projects, go to Stoke Fire, assets, create one there. And I think we'll probably do one for the website as well, but maybe we'll test this to see if this works. We could generate one here as well. Yeah, so kind of what we're doing here is, if this doesn't make sense, is this file is automatically generated when you deploy a smart contract locally. And so it's like going to that, it's pulling the address. Kind of the whole idea is so that I can just run this script and I don't have to like update the local address in multiple places to just like run these projects. So that's kind of the idea. Okay, but then if we go back to here, basically all this stuff we don't need anymore. So we can get rid of this. And actually, this is where we can just copy what we have that we worked with over here. This is basically what I want. And then instead of, yeah, and this will then pull from the, like a JSON file, basically. Yeah, so we need to run this script. And so I guess I would do package.json. Maybe we'll even run it before we do dev. So let's see. Is this, it's a TS. So we need TS node to be able to run TypeScript. Wrong. Did that work? Overwrite. Matthew says, we like Ponder. Yes, we do. It's good. It's good. There we are. So we got TS node. So then I can do TS node run scripts / update constants.ts. And we'll do that. So that should hopefully work. Run. Oh, maybe TS node doesn't do run. Okay, so unknown file extension. Let's see. Let's see. So it doesn't like .ts. Why? This does have TypeScript. Oh, wait a second. Did I put that in the wrong place? Oh no, this is the wrong package. This is the problem with having so many packages. Okay, so we do have TypeScript there. Update constants.ts and then ponder dev. Let's try that again. We might have to like add it to our tsconfig maybe. Seems fine. TSC. Maybe I'm missing something. Update. Okay, file. And here we're just using .json, so that shouldn't be a problem. Didn't I do something similar over here in these scripts? Yeah. Scripts dev ts node 1092. Yep. So that should be, I mean, it looks the same, but I'll just copy this just to make sure. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I am doing it in a different project, but this project should support TS Node and it should support TypeScript and all of that. Let's try doing just like a new script here to make sure there wasn't something else messing it up. Nope. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's about this issue. Stoke Fire around apps. That's the right path. Okay, well, let's try. If I put this in my, could put it in here. Or we could put it in here just to see if that changes things. All right, let's try it in this one. I just got some copy dropped off by my lovely wife, so that's really nice. Okay, so got that. And now, okay, at least it's running now. So I think that fixed that. It's at least running. And now we just got to get the right path for this. So Stoke Fire. So we do need to have, if we go back to the scripts here, we need to go up one more. Now let's try that. Generate this. No such file for this. Okay, so since, yeah, we're running it from somewhere else. So this can go, we're already here. This one generates, did it generate? It might have generated, yep. So here we got this, and actually we want to generate it in under assets. So we'll do that one here, and that will generate the JSON under the assets here and just drop it in right here, which we already have one from testing or from where we copied this out of. So that goes there. And then this one will go out and it will put it in the indexer, since we're not in the indexer. And actually, I think we only need to go out once. That's where that path is. So now should be able to run this and hopefully it's successful. Boom. Okay, so that works. Let's just make sure the paths are right. So we have this one here. We can go ahead and delete this one. Move to trash. And then an indexer. Yep, we have this here. And let's go ahead and delete the script. Move to trash. And let's call this gen address, because that's really the main thing that we want here, is just to get the address. And we'll just call it, sure, gen address. Maybe I'll change this one because it's nice in shorthand as well. All right, so now in this config, we should be able to pull that from dev constants.json. And that then pulls that. So yeah, do we want to generate the network? I got to think about this. So I think before, when I had this, like, I had this config file that kind of handled stuff. I think before it was actually a TS file. Do I want to generate all that stuff? Maybe, because then we could actually make it different for each. Then, yeah, but then I'm going to have to create like a config with per package, which could be kind of annoying. Yeah, so gotta figure out, and that would be a hash, so we'd need to have like a hash type there, which we have here. So that would fix that. Hmm. Because then I would have to like make sure I generate that before I run it on production workspaces, which isn't makes sense. So I think I'm just gonna have to have like a duplicate config file. Good coffee. Okay, so I think what I'll do is make a file in here, config.ts. And didn't I do something like this already? I mean, I'm like right here, that's just doing that. Here we go. This is what we want. So we're gonna have this config file, and this is kind of like our config for everything. And this is what actually is pulling from dev constants. And then in here, instead of going from the JSON, we go from config. And then that grabs that. And then now we have our network and stuff. That's good. So then basically we can handle our different environments and just have it hard coded to be like on production. And then if it's in development, it'll then pull from the JSON file. So that's kind of how that works. Well, if you have any questions, let me know. I see someone on YouTube. I don't know how your name is said, but you're asking when is the launch? Yeah, so the plan is to basically build this very iteratively. I have like a first version that I'm going to hopefully get out to a few people in the next week, kind of like an early access group of people. And to get on that, you can join my hyper sub. I have a hyper sub. I've done some casts about it if you want to find that, or if you can just reach out to me if you want to join it. But just trying to keep it a small group of people that I can then kind of share the build with, get feedback, and we'll kind of play it as a little group for a little bit. But I mean, I want to get it out there pretty quickly so that I can start learning and figuring out what works, and then just really have an iterative approach and kind of like go from there is kind of the plan. So yeah, it's, have something in a week, but then kind of just build throughout and just keep making it better and add stuff to it. That's kind of the plan. Okay, so we need to have this config over here as well. I think I'll add it in these utils. What kind of game is Stoke Fire? Good question. So it's an on-chain game. It's going to be on base, and it's going. I want to like do something new, kind of experiment and try different ideas. Because I think there's a lot of potential for building an on-chain game. And we've seen stuff, but nothing that's really worked for a long term. So I want to like build it on a system, something that can last longer. So yeah, it'll be on base, but it's going to be a mobile app game that you can play on your phone. And I don't know if you were here earlier for this, but here's like a little sneak peek of what it looks like right now. So this is just like a very simple version of interacting with the stuff on chain. So it's a resource game. You can build a village, and the goal is to grow your population. And you have to stoke the fire because your villagers, they like to be warm. You know what I'm saying? Like they like they like the heat. So you always, you know, you got to stoke your fire, but it's kind of a resource management game, and then like using your resources wisely. And then, you know, this is built on top of the Farcaster social graph, so that then, you know, you can interact with your friends, and you know, you can imagine like battling and trying to steal resources from each other, things like that. So that is, yeah, that's kind of the game in a nutshell. Kind of a quick look. So, anyways, um, man, it is really hard. I'm still getting used to live streaming, just like jumping around and like so many windows, and then like also I have like a lot of different code windows. So my brain is kind of like, what is going on, which makes it a little bit challenging. Okay, so I think what we're doing is we need to copy this config, and let's put it in our utils, or we could just put it in here like that. And this is going to pull from assets. Like so. That's good. And that will get that information that way. I think I should call it constants. It's like the naming problems, you know. Let's call it constants. And I'll change that up here as well. Makes more sense with what we have going on in here. Good. So the only kind of annoying thing about this is that these are basically duplicate files, right? So it's like when at least I'm only gonna have to change it once, really, just like set the production stuff. The dev stuff won't change, but I have to do it in a couple places. And yeah, so there's obviously better ways to do this, but you know, we're kind of being lazy right now. Just trying to make this work well. Luo was asking, is it a composer action? So no, like the plan is that this is going to be its own mobile app. So it'll be its own mobile app. But I could see, you know, like leveraging composer actions in Farcaster to it'd be more so for like sharing purposes, maybe. Like maybe you want to share some stats or maybe some interaction within Farcaster, but like for the most part, most of the game is going to take place in its own app, just so you know we can have more control and make a better experience. I think that's pretty important to having a good game. And there's just less risk, I think, with having it directly built on top of Warpcast, with composer actions and stuff, because like you don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna build and stuff like that. So that's kind of my decision there, because I've built different frames and things on top of Warpcast, and there's just, I don't know, it's you don't have there's just like risks with like where they go. And then I guess the main problem right now, at least, is like discoverability. It's like you kind of post your frame out there, and then it's maybe if it goes well, it's like talked about for a week, people are using it, and then they kind of forget and it kind of disappears. So I think that's kind of one of the problems with building it directly into Warpcast or Farcaster. And so that's kind of the idea, is like you leverage those things for more so like for marketing kind of ideas. But ultimately, like, we want players to play the game on the mobile app and enjoy it there. And we can make a lot cooler, better app that way. So yeah. All right. Let's see if I now have this working. npm run dev. Oh, wait. I need to update this. We don't want this anymore. And boom, it's working. Yes, it is working. We now have the indexer working, and we already got this working. So this is already working. So that's cool. So now let's make sure the website is working. So first we need to do the exact same thing of having our constants. So let's copy that. Oh, we do need to update the Stoke Fire app to actually use these constants because it's not even using them right now. So there's that. I think these things are in the .env, but I don't really want to show that. Don't want to show the .env on stream. Glad you're looking forward to it, Luo. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay. So I think what I'll do right now is just not show the code so I can check out what I need to change here. Hey, complexity. Glad you're looking forward to it. Yeah, should be fun. Okay, I think I should be able to share my screen again. Okay, so what I'm doing is I need to get rid of, this was in my .env as this address. And instead, we're going to pull it from the constants file that we just created, like so. What's wrong with this? Probably just need to do that. Oh, it's the default. It's the default that always gets you. That should work. Nice. All right, so we got to find all of our usages of this in the app. Oh wait, not here, not here. That's the wrong place. Wrong file. This one is the actual constants there, so don't want to do that one. Don't want to do that. That one, no. Here, this one we can do. Okay, so that's good. And then here, already did that one. Okay, sweet. Don't need this anymore because we know that we have this. It's for sure there. So we can update that like that. Okay. All right, so I think we should be good. Oh yeah, I already changed it in the website too, so that's good. But now if we go back over to here, yeah, we already got that working. Let's still make sure that this works. Don't have that script. Start. Seems like it's gonna work. Yes. All right, so we got that working. So now we just gotta make sure that our website works. So it has this constants file, but we don't have this. And we could throw it in here, public. Throw it in our public file. And so we need to add this to our, it's very hard when everything's green, so everything's the same. Once I commit all this stuff and we're kind of like to a good spot here, it'll be much easier. Scripts, update constants, here we go. So we have this. We need to write the same file. Do something like this and do website. Just update this naming because it's different. Okay, so now if we do npm run gen address, okay, boom, we wrote 3. So the question is, did we write in here? Yes, we did. Cool. So now in our constants file, should it actually just be this? Or do we actually have to do, maybe we do have to do public. Okay. Perfect. I think that's all good. So then this will pull from here, and I already updated to use that. Let me just make sure that I'm not using environment variables that I should be using. Yeah, that seems good. It's hard to know how many people are actually on here because X shows that there's like 124 people, but that's just like views, I think. I don't think that's actually people that are live. Yeah, but it's hard to know. There could be some people on there. All right. Before I show the code again, just making sure that's all good. Okay. So now let's make sure we can run our website. Ooh, yeah. It's looking like it's gonna work. And you can see that's our website. Stoke your fire to grow your village. That's all it is. Yeah, so pretty simple. We have some API endpoints on there. That's the main reason that have a website package right now. So it doesn't do much. Okay, so trying to think if there's anything else I need to do before I commit this. It is red for some reason. It doesn't like something in there, but I'm sure that's probably fine. It'll probably go away. Okay, we are going to commit this. And we got it. So did that. Trying to think if there's anything else that I made changes to in here in the turbo repo. This is, my attempt to do turbo if I need any of this stuff. Hopefully not. I think the other thing I might want to do is update some environment variables, but I could probably do that later. Weird. I got rid of the scripts there that I didn't need, so that's good. Okay, so kind of the next portion is I had already deployed to production, and so I'll have to make sure that works. But maybe I can do that later. Maybe what we can do is kind of talk through some of like the next steps of what I'm going to build next. Because yesterday we were working on, so I can pull this up. We were working on the smart contracts, and I still have to figure this stuff out. I ended up working on some different parts, like mostly the other apps and other packages other than continuing on the smart contract. So we still have some work to do on this. But we were working on adding villagers to so part of the game is that you're trying to grow your population, right? And so we made it yesterday so that you can create a hut. So you can build huts. Those would then house your villagers, but your villagers don't just come in right away. You have to have the right resources for those villagers to basically want to move into your village. For new people to want to come in and settle in your village. And so you have to have enough food, resources, you have to have an empty hut. And so that's what we're starting to work on here. And I think what will be really cool is if you maybe you don't even have enough food for your current amount of villagers, then villagers might even leave. And so you kind of have to manage your economy, kind of manage your resources so that people want to stay around. So this is what this is what we're trying to do here a little bit. And so I need to kind of work on that, or maybe just think through it a little bit more. Like, how's this going to work? Okay, so right now I'm kind of saying, I think I was kind of going for if you had less than 10 food, then you're just going to get 0 new villagers. And this is all happening in Stoke Fire. So when you stoke your fire, which you do every couple of days or so, you will then potentially get new villagers based on your resources. So I guess what we have to think about is like kind of starting from the top level, like how many villagers do I want people to be able to add per day? Like I think if you could add a villager every couple of days, that would make sense. Like that would be interesting. And so then if we do something where like a villager, every time you stoke a fire, maybe a villager eats and takes 3 food, then maybe we should, here, maybe I'll set up, maybe we should write some notes here. So we can actually think through this before I start coding it out. Kind of brainstorm here a little bit. Okay, so adding villagers. So villager eats 3 food every stoke fire. So every stoke fire, that happens about every 3 days. You could stoke your fire more often than that though, like if you wanted to. So maybe we should do it based on time instead. That would probably make more sense. So just like every day, maybe every day a villager eats a food. That would probably make more sense to people. So 1 food every day. But they actually aren't eaten until you stoke the fire. And so, every stoke fire, if you did it every 3 days, it would take 3 food. I think that would make sense. So about 3 food per villager every stoke fire. So then make that a little bigger. Okay, so then if you're doing that, that means we got to figure out like how much food should you be producing. So right now I have it to where you can go gather food every 12 hours, and every time you gather, you'll get like 2 to 6 food. So 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 maybe I should make it a little less potentially. Um, Because if we want to be able to add a new villager every 3 days, it's like you have to keep up with the current amount of villagers that you have. Which would take some of your food. It's like you would reach kind of a level where you can't really go anymore. So every time if you gather food, you get like 2 to 4 food. Maybe that would make sense. So then by the time you stoke fire, you potentially have like 9 food. And so you could support 3 villagers. And maybe that's fine. Like maybe the game starts out where it's like you kind of just build up to having 3 villagers and then like kind of have to figure out more things to add at that point. And maybe that's just like the first phase of the game is like you kind of can have a small village, but you can't have like a ginormous village. Because for context, what I'm wanting to do is that you're then actually like your villagers are then actually something you can leverage in your economy. Like you can go have your villagers go get resources or go do certain things for you. And so how many you have is like the number, like the more villagers, it's like it's pretty valuable to have villagers and use them. And so I don't want to give them out too quickly, basically. And I need things, I need to have things that the villagers can do, things for them to do. And so that's what I'm thinking. I don't want it to be too quick. So right now, if we look at resources, gather food, right now I'm giving 1 to 4 food every 12 hours. That's pretty good. And so then, yeah, we have like a villager eat 1 food every day. And so we'll have to calculate how many days have passed since you last stoked the fire. And that will help us know how much food to take per villager. So maybe I'll just kind of put that out so I know. Calculate days time since last stoked and take amount of food per villager. Okay, so that's kind of a weird comment that doesn't make much sense, but it makes sense to me. Yeah, so we'll have to do that. Then we'll have to see how much food is left over. And if they have enough food left over for more villagers, we will then add those villagers. But maybe it's like you actually need more, you need like a surplus of food to add a new villager. So it's a little bit harder to get new villagers. Maybe it's like if you have 5 extra food, you can get a new villager. And that will use up that food. I mean, there's definitely lots of thinking I'll have to think about with this because all the different resources that you have will kind of go into this. Like, you know, how many huts you have, which it costs wood to build a hut. And I think I was saying that a hut can fit 7 villagers. So it's like, how fast am I letting you create huts to where, and then like the amount of food, is it like they kind of need to be somewhat in sync so that you have like enough food and you're creating enough huts to be able to grow your population. So yeah, I'll have to think about that for sure. Because what was I saying before? I think I was saying, so for building a hut, it cost 10 wood. Let's write this down. So 10 wood to build a hut. And for resources, every day you're getting 2 to 6 more wood. 2 to 6 more wood every day. And so you're potentially able to create a hut every day. Oh, every 2 days. And so it's kind of like you'd have more huts than you have food for villagers. And maybe that's fine, because I could see adding more things that use up the wood resource. So you have more decisions to make, and maybe food's harder to come by. Like maybe that's okay for a first version of how this works. Like you could have an excess amount of huts, and you don't really have enough food for all the villagers yet. Maybe something like that. We could also just make kind of all the numbers smaller, or just make the number of huts bigger. I mean, kind of the challenge is making the game pace at the right time so that you're upgrading things in a way that's feeling good, like, is enjoyable and rewarding, that you're like making progress, but also not too fast to where you kind of have too much power and like can do anything. And that's why I kind of want it to be slow, especially in the beginning when there's not really much to do yet. Like all you can really do is like build huts and get food and get more villagers. But like ideally, later on, if you have tons of things to do with the resources and that you need to do with the resources, then, it's like I'm more okay letting you grow faster. And maybe we even have like an arc like that in the game where it's like things kind of start out slow because you don't have much, it's you and one villager or something. And then later on you can like start going faster as you grow and get bigger. I think that could make sense, and be kind of cool. Have like a nice progression that's rewarding, basically, is the idea. So it's gonna take a little bit of work to figure that out and to make that work right. Okay, well, thank you everyone for stopping by and watching the stream. I don't think I'm gonna go. I think I'm probably gonna end here unless you have a question or something. But we kind of talked through some of my next steps, and I'm gonna continue working on that today. And yeah, I made some progress on the Monorepo. I'm going to basically set up all my deployment stuff for production, making sure that Monorepo all works, but that will be a lot easier to kind of follow along, because now I just have 2 repos. I just have my smart contracts, and then I have like all the apps and indexers and stuff built on top of that. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm planning to, I'll probably live. Well, tomorrow's what, Friday? I might live stream tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe I might be busy in the morning. But yeah, I might live stream. Gonna try to keep doing this to keep myself accountable and just like keep making progress, and I can then kind of share how things are going as we go along. So should be fun. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in another.